All right, welcome you guys. This one is going to be the Introduce Yourself assignment 2.2.3. And what we're going to do is make a function. We're going to call out that function, and then inside the function, we're going to, we'll just write a couple sentences about ourselves. Whatever you do is completely up to you. Remember, you are now a developer and designer, so have some creativity out there and actually do some stuff on your own. Think about what you want to do and don't just copy down what I put in on mine. Now the code should be pretty much the same though. So when we make a function or a note, pretty much you go about putting those things into your code the same way. So first up, just like we've seen before, what I'm going to do is give myself a note here. So I got a double slash. When you do it, it should turn green. But for me, you can see it just kind of went gray right there, and that's okay too. But what I'm going to do here is make the main function. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this to main. Again, can you change the name of the function to something else? Yes, you can, but I'm not going to worry about that stuff. And on line 2 here, let's go ahead and actually make the function. So again, spelling is important. Same with uppercase, lowercase stuff. So function, F-U-N-C-T-I-O-N, space, and then you put the name of the function, which we're just calling this main. That is the name of the function, and we need a set of parentheses. And now just for etiquette, I put a space there before I put my closing fancy brackets. Now for me, I'm going to give myself a couple spaces right there to work inside the main function, and then you can see on line 4, I have the closing of my main function. So you can see again, on line 4, the fancy bracket is underlined, and then up here also on line 2, it is also underlined as well, okay? Which means everything on line 3, or if I were to give myself even more lines of code, everything now on lines 3, 4, and 5 are inside of the main function, okay? Now that is the main function, and that's all it will do, and that's enough code that you can at least test, go into your output, run it, and see if it works. Now if you get any errors, chances are you just misspelled something. It's possible you may have forgotten the closing fancy bracket here at the end. But continuing on here, I'm going to move downwards, and I'm going to give myself another note, meaning here is where I want to actually run the main function, okay? Now, of course, let's say run or call out the main function. And it doesn't matter which one you do or say, at least it doesn't to me, but I suppose that coding nerds out there may get a little offended if you say run it, but whatever. Now, of course, how are we going to run it? You just call out the name of the function, which is main, and then give it a couple sets of parentheses, open and close right there, with a semicolon there at the end, just to show that line of code, line 9, is now complete. Okay, so now I'm going to come up here inside the main function, which for me right now is lines 3, 4, and 5. I could add more lines of code if I wanted to just by pushing enter, but I'm not going to need more than 3 lines of code to put inside of the main function. So remember that right there was showing that line 3 and 4 and 5 right now are not indented. I will indent those myself, even though as you guys do these on CodeHS, chances are you will not have to indent those. But for me, I have to, and that's okay. So I just push tab, and then it indents it for me. Remember, that's good coding etiquette. Later on when we have, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 functions as part of our video games, you're definitely going to want to indent those, because if you don't, then you're going to end up with problems finding errors, or maybe you'll think there's errors when there's not, because the format, again, what I'm calling the coding etiquette here, is off. So what we want to do now is, let's say we're going to write something about ourselves. I'll just say myself, because it's just me. All right, and I did push enter, so I did give myself another line of code there. I forgot I needed that, I wanted that note in there. Now for your assignment, all you need to do is include the word name inside of the text. Now we want text to show up when you run the program, okay? Now putting a note on line 3, again, we don't need to check that because it's just a note. And again, mine is showing what that kind of grayish color, but for you, it should show up as green on your screen for CodeHS. But now that we have that note on there, I'm just going to write something about myself. Now, I'm not just going to write something like, my name is Mr. Sal. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do that. Why am I not going to do it? It's because, remember, it's not going to show anything on the screen until I tell it to put it on the screen. Nothing will happen while you're coding until you tell the program to do it. This one specifically is console, C-O-N-S-O-L-E .log, parentheses, and quotation marks right there. Now I can write something about it. All right? Now, of course, they say, we want you to say what your name is. Now, because I'm belligerent, because I'm kind of an iconoclast, what I'd like to do here is just put what I want. Again, all you really need to do is use the word name somewhere in there, and it will give you credit. So I will not give you my name. That period. Exclamation point? I don't know, question mark? Exclamation point, whatever. Again, you choose. Then I've got the closing of my quotation marks and also the closing parentheses right here, which again you can see is underlined where I have my cursor, and then it's also underlined over here where we started it. Okay. Now to end this line of code, I have a semicolon right there. Now I'm going to add a little bit to this. This was not part of the assignment. I just want to do it just because I'm a Constitution-loving person. So I'm going to say console.log, and then in my quotations I would put I am exercising my Fifth Amendment right. And if you wanted to add more, you could say to remain silent, but I'm just going to leave it at that. So, yeah, I'll keep it at that for now. So, I put a little bit more there. Why did I do that? It's because I wanted to, and that's the only reason I did it. Do you have to? No, you do not. And by the way, those 2 lines of code right there would give you enough credit. But like they do say in the assignment, here we're going to put it, I'm going to give myself another note and just say, what is a favorite thing? I think they wanted you to say whatever your favorite snack is, but I'm not going to do that. So again, here, let's go back. How do I make this display on the screen? We say console.log, parentheses, and then I've got my quotation mark right here, and then I can just put whatever my favorite thing. I like to, again, you could say you want to put in a snack there, but I like to play racquetball. Again, you could put rugby or something like that, or whatever you want. It's completely up to you, okay? Now, I think I've said this before, but I just want to emphasize this again. Even in text, nothing will happen unless you put it there. For example, right here, play and racquetball, that space was put there by me, so when it's displayed, it will show that space. If I don't put that space right there, then it doesn't show up when you run the program, okay? But if it's there, it will show. If it's not there, it will not show. So you also notice as I combine these 2 together and I move away from it, there is no spell check in coding. So don't expect there to be any. You could put this into some kind of Word document or email even to see if you've spelled some things correctly, but right now for our purposes it's not going to matter, but do get used to having a little bit more proclivity towards exactness and perfection, because later on when you guys are working, getting paid for this stuff, whether you do it for your own clients or you're doing it for your business or a business, they want things to look good, and if they don't look good, then they're going to ask you to fix it anyways, all right? Now, this is enough for credit for this assignment. Introduce yourself. If you wanted to put other stuff, or again, I put a sport on here. I like to read books about secret societies. You can do that too. I don't care. You decide. But everything that I just put right there is optional. You decide where you're going to put. I like to eat bacon. Whatever. It's completely up to you. Okay. Now remember, some common mistakes is forgetting this fancy bracket here at the end. Other things would be like misspelling or mistyping console, or maybe capitalizing L with log or console, or forgetting to run or call out the main function. You need to call it out down here. So I didn't do this, but I did forget, by the way. After I put in line 4, you should have ran the program and then make sure that this message shows up. I will not give you my name. And then once that works, then you should have went to line 5 here and saw, oh, console log, and then put this stuff in, and then you would have seen, oh, I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right. And then further down, after we did that and seeing that it works, then you would put in line 8, where it should say, I like to read books about secret societies, or whatever, right? And again, punctuation is important, especially when you're doing this for clients or something like that, okay? So I'll try to fix that in the next round, in the next assignment, but you should remember that as you go about doing your own coding. We started from the beginning. I know the assignment kind of starts with the function already given and some notes, but I'm just going to be doing these freehand, although eventually what I'm going to be doing is showing you at least kind of a template with the main function, and then after that, just kind of copying and pasting the template in there, and then going and putting in any code that we need for assignments. Okay, well, that completes this assignment.